Global warming is the increase in the temperature of Earth's surface caused by greenhouse gases. These gases form a blanket around the planet that acts as a filter for sunlight. The Earth absorbs part of the sun's heat and reflects the rest into the atmosphere. But part of this heat bounces off the blanket of greenhouse gases and returns to the Earth, causing an increase in temperature. But also, global warming is a natural process that makes our planet habitable. Without global warming, the changes in day and night temperatures would be similar to those of planets without an atmosphere. Global warming is expected to raise sea level by almost 39 inches or almost 100 centimeters by end of this century. The water level will rise mainly because of the melting glaciers. After the last ice age, the rapid melting of glaciers rapidly raised sea level. That melting tapered off about 6,000 years ago and sea level compared to land became fairly stable. However, over the past century, sea level over much of the United States has risen by 25 to 30 centimeters relative to land. As sea water will rise, some of the states will start losing land. Florida, Louisiana, North and South Carolina, and Texas are likely to be most affected. In Florida, the rising water level will likely pollute drinking water wells. Many areas in these states will become flooded with salt water. Rising water will swamp many major interstate highways. It is also the reason of increasing storm intensity. Winter waves in California have shown a trend of increasing size and period. More intense storms leading to increased potential for exceeding flood defenses designed for historical conditions. When strong storms are coupled with sea level rise, they bring taller waves that can reach farther inland. The frequency of 100-year flood are likely to increase. In addition, many beaches and coastlines are already strongly affected by erosion issues.
Another thing is a problem in animals and extinctions. Global warming is already causing extinctions in vulnerable species. Approximately 70 species of harlequin frog in Central and South America have been driven to extinction by a disease that is linked with the global warming. Warmer temperatures cause increased cloud cover that create ideal conditions for a fungus that kills the frog. This is only one cautionary example of how global warming disrupts stability of ecosystem. As it continues, it will cause more extinctions. Scientists predict 9 to 52% of all terrestrial species will be on a reversible path to extinction by 2050. Also, marine animals have decreased in size because of global warming. It is difficult to obtain oxygen from the increasing warm water. Because of global warming, sea animals shrink 10 times more than land and freshwater animals. According to experts, the decline in aquatic life is due to the fact that it is harder for these species to get oxygen from the warmer and warmest water ever. By global warming, there are a lot of problems in Arctic area. The fifth threat to the polar bear is the loss of its sea ice habitats due to global warming. The polar bear is actually a marine mammal that spends far more time at sea than it does on land. It is on Arctic ice that the polar bear makes its living, which is why global warming is such a serious threat to its well-being. Because of global warming, polar bears' population size decreasing, and because of ice melting, sea ice platform moving farther apart, and swimming conditions more dangerous. Also, fewer hunting opportunities and increased scarcity of food. Another problem because of global warming is disappearance of coral reefs. Coral provides food for different fish and mollusks while protecting them from their natural predator. It is estimated that they generate resources to feed roughly 2,000 million people. Once crushed by waves, the calcareous skeleton of coral form part of many tropical beaches, important for tourism, while coral reefs prevent their disappearance. With this important thing, coral reefs are decreased. In 1 year alone, 16% of the world coral reefs were wiped out. A sea temperature change of mere 1 degree Celsius would yield similar losses. Increasing levels of carbon dioxide in the water cause additional damage to coral, leaving them defenseless against storm damage and erosion. Higher sea temperature from global warming had already caused major coral bleaching event. Bleaching occurs when coral respond to the stress of warmer temperatures by expelling the colorful algae that live within them. Some corals are able to recover, but too often the coral dies, and the entire ecosystem for which is formed the base virtually disappears. Longer lasting and more extensive bleaching events are already on the rise, with further increases expected in the decades ahead as ocean temperature continues to rise. Warmer water are also expected to increase the incidence of other coral diseases such as black band disease, white plague, and white pox, all of which can lead to mass mortality of coral, and subsequently the entire ecosystem is submerged. Ocean acidification, which occurs when oceans absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, is also a threat to coral. As the ocean becomes more acid, the coral's ability to form skeleton through calcification is inhibited, causing their growth to slow. A doubling of atmospheric carbon dioxide will reduce calcification in some corals by as much as 50%.
For 2.5 million years, the Earth's climate has fluctuated, cycling from ice ages to warmer periods. But in the last century, the planet's temperature has risen unusually fast, about 1.2 to 1.4 degrees Fahrenheit. Scientists believe it's human activity that's driving the temperatures up, a process known as global warming. Ever since the Industrial Revolution began, factories, power plants, and eventually cars have burned fossil fuels such as oil and coal, releasing huge amounts of carbon dioxide and other gases into the atmosphere. These greenhouse gases trap heat near the Earth through a naturally occurring process called the greenhouse effect. The greenhouse effect begins with the sun and the energy it radiates to the Earth. The Earth and the atmosphere absorb some of this energy, while the rest is radiated back into space. Naturally occurring gases in the atmosphere trap some of this energy and reflect it back, warming the Earth. Scientists now believe that the greenhouse effect is being intensified by the extra greenhouse gases that humans have released. Evidence for global warming includes a recent string of very warm years. Scientists report that 1998 was the warmest year in measured history, with 2005 coming in second. Meanwhile, readings taken from ice cores show that the greenhouse gases carbon dioxide and methane have hit their highest levels in the past 420,000 years. Arctic sea ice is also shrinking. According to NASA studies, the extent of Arctic sea ice has declined about 10% in the last 30 years. As long as industrialized nations consume energy and developing countries increase their fossil fuel consumption, the concentration of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere will continue to rise. Researchers predict that temperatures will increase about 2 to 10 degrees Fahrenheit by the end of the century. What's less certain is what rising temperatures mean for the planet. Some climate models predict subtle changes. Others forecast rising sea levels which could flood coastal areas around the world. Weather patterns could change, making hurricanes more frequent. Severe droughts could become more common in warm areas, and species unable to adapt to the changing conditions would face extinction. Although much remains to be learned about global warming, many organizations advocate cutting greenhouse gas emissions to reduce the impact of global warming. Consumers can help by saving energy around the house, switching to compact fluorescent light bulbs, and driving fewer miles in the car each week. These simple changes may help keep the Earth cooler in the future.